Hey everyone, just a quick addition to last video where I was talking about triggers and finding out if we eliminated some cars, or in general any entity really. I was complaining that we couldn't use onDamaged state changed because they overrode the function without actually calling the super function. So we never got the script invoker called and we couldn't register our event handler to it. Now I was looking at the co-op sample here because they're doing tasks and I want to find out how tasks work. And I saw they have this eliminate task. So I was like, okay, that's kind of what we did, but as a task. So how did they implement it? I'm curious. Jump to script definition and read through it a bit, and event handler undestroyed? That's interesting. Go check the wiki if that's anywhere, and indeed there is. There is a page, Arma Reforger event handlers, that lists out some of them. And one of them is damage manager component undestroyed. It doesn't tell us how to actually use those, but it tells us that some of them exist. Now, it doesn't tell us all of them. So how can we find out what event handlers there are and where we can use them? Well, this says we have a event handler manager component from the entity. So let's go check out some entity, for example, the soldier. If we go over here and scroll through his components, we will find an event handler manager component. And under here, you'll see there are 8 event managers, like on weapon changed, on muzzle changed, on ammo count changed, and stuff like that. Stuff that's important to a character. Now, I have no idea where these come from. Well, I can only guess that they come from somewhere inside the engine. So when we're creating a script, what happens is we always have this script class, for example, SCR eliminate task, and there's always also this class. So SCR eliminate task class. So what I'm guessing is for stuff like characters, this is implemented in engine, this class, and this other class is like a script on top of that native class. And there's some more stuff going on in the native class that does event handlers and stuff. Because even if you go searching for, say, what did we just, on weapon changed, right? Let's go search in the entire solution. So every file from Arma, we're going to search. And okay, it does find a few things. The AI does it somewhere, okay. Weapon info has a function called that, but it doesn't actually like invoke anything. Someone registers it here, so we can see the on weapon changed class from weapon info function. I mean, it's just registered to the event handler here. So where does the event handler come from? Right? There's nothing about event handlers here anywhere. So that's kind of weird. And also if we look at cars, we can see they have other ones, but none of them really show us undestroyed. And if we look here, it says undestroyed belongs to the damage manager component, not to an entity. Oh, okay. But if we look at the damage manager, there's nothing about undestroyed. There's something about the wheels getting destroyed. Let's check the character. Damage manager. Nothing about destroyed. So I really don't know how we're supposed to find out about them. But check the wiki, there's some event handlers here. And so what we could have now done instead of what we ended up doing, which was having a trigger call, get health and checking if smaller than 0 every second or so, and then telling us that they're both destroyed. Not that great of a script to use. What we could have done instead, if we come over to the eliminate task here, is we could have gotten the event handler manager component from our thing that is to be destroyed. and registered the onDestroyed script handler for that entity with a function called with a function from us called onDestroyed in this case. This is even better than what I first proposed. That didn't work out because onDamageStateChanged was overwritten for vehicles, which was to get all the entities and then get their damage manager component and register a callback on get onDamageStateChanged. Now, why is this onDamage handler even better? Because onDamageStateChanged, all we get is the new damage state. It doesn't tell us which thing was destroyed. It just tells us that something was destroyed. And, well, it tells us that something's damage state changed. It doesn't even tell us if it was destroyed. We still have to check that ourselves as well. So that's not even the greatest callback we could have had. But with onDestroyed, it tells us, hey, which entity actually died, and we already know that it was destroyed. We don't actually have to check if it died or was just injured. So what we could have done instead here is we're going to keep everything the same. We have this list of names of things that should be destroyed, and we can count if they have been destroyed and like how many have been destroyed and how many we need to destroy. We can keep the script invoker to end the game later on. But what we really want to change is we just want to come in here, and for all names, we're going to find the entity. And now instead of finding the script damage manager component, we're going to find the event handler manager component. And we have to cast, of course, from our entity, where we will find component of type event handler manager component. Again, we need to check that it actually has this. If it doesn't, does not have a event handler manager. If it doesn't have an event handler manager, we can't actually call the function. So what we want to do is event handler manager component. Oops. We want to use our variable. And we want to register script handler. Now we need to give the event name as a string, and that's onDestroyed. We need to give it the entity. I guess the event handler could care about multiple entities somehow, so we just need to pass it the entity again, which is our VIP that we found from the world. And then we want to give it the function for the callback, which is in our case on VIP killed. And you can see there's even a bool delayed, which I guess if it's delayed, it's probably going to call it one frame later instead of on that frame or something like that. Not quite sure. But it's probably a good idea to use delayed unless you have a good reason not to. And then instead of damage state over on our VIP killed function, we will actually get an entity, destroyed entity, which we can log VIP killed, and we can remove this damage state check, and the rest can stay the same. We can say we count up one dead person, and if that's more than the VIPs that we counted before, we can just say all VIPs have been killed and invoke that script invoker, which could have a callback to end game or something attached to it. So one thing you could do here instead is you could remove the event handler again. I don't know if this is necessary, since the entity is destroyed, it probably won't get destroyed again, and it might just get deleted by the garbage collector and stuff soon, but let's just check out how that would work. So we can just copy our getting the event handler component script, and instead of finding from VIP, we're going to find from the destroyed entity, and we're just going to say event comp remove script handler, and we want to remove for on destroyed from the destroyed entity, and our script handler is called on VIP killed. I think this would be a pretty good way of actually doing this. I think it's much better than having a trigger try this every second. So I hope that was helpful, and I'll see you in our next video where we'll actually talk about tasks then.